All right, welcome back to Stockton Con 2019. This is Christopher Shortt. I am here with the man himself, Ming Chen. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm actually feeling just a little bit tall and bald. How you doing?
I'm feeling short and Asian, so yeah.
Hey, there you go. Okay, so one of my first questions is, I know you do a lot of comedy, especially recently, and like a lot of comic book stuff. How long have you been in the industry, and how did you get into the industry?
Man, that's a weird question because I don't draw, I don't write. But I became kind of, in this world just because I was a fan. So I've been working with Kevin Smith for, 23 years. I met him in 1996. And the way I got in with Kevin was I made a fan site for his first movie, Clerks. And I did that in Michigan. He was in New Jersey at the time. He saw it on the internet, got my contact info, and just gave me a call. So this is kind of like, if you're a fan of somebody and all of the blue, and you kind of made like an artwork or something based on something you love from, and they just called you. He was like, hey, you want to work with me? That's how I got involved with Kevin. It was just purely from being a fan. So that led to me working full-time for him later on. We started podcasting together, and that led to a TV show. So it was all because I was a fan, though, and that's what I like telling kids now. It's like, hey, even now in this day and age, you might get some people. It's like, oh man, you shouldn't like that. That's not cool. You should like this instead, or it's like, no, love what you love, man. Don't tell anyone to not, don't let anyone tell you what to like and not like, because if you hold on to those, that love, it could work out for you. You could wind up on a TV show with Kevin Smith. You could wind up at a cool con like at Stockton Con. You just never know. But don't, always stick to what you love.
Most definitely. Now, for those of you that live under a rock and don't know what time it is, Kevin Smith is actually Silent Bob and has produced several different independent films such as Clerks, Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which is some of the most funniest comedy I've ever seen. As far as you, how do you feel like film has evolved? Because I know Kevin Smith has his own particular type of design, very similar to like a Breaking Bad, all the characters tie in together type of thing. Of course, not the same because Kevin Smith set the trend, let's not forget. But now, going back to that, how do you feel like film is evolving, given like artists like Kevin Smith who actually come with that left field type of comedy can evolve from a quiet character that doesn't say anything, but yet nobody really knows that he runs the show?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, I feel, has innovated two facets in the film industry. One, the kind of whole comic book like universe crossover. He did it before the Marvel movies came out, man. He did it way back in 1994, where if you watch Clerks, you have Dante and Randall and the View Askew universe, he calls it. But then if you go to Mallrats, then you like Jay and Silent Bob going back, and they make references to the other guys from Clerks, and it's all in the same universe. And he kind of set that bar, I feel, before the Marvel movies did. But he got that whole idea from reading comic books. So, that's so. But I feel in the film world, him and Tarantino kind of innovated that, where all their characters belong in the same universe. Like in one movie, you might see the car of somebody else drive away in the background, and they'll mention somebody. So I thought that was cool. And then in the indie film world, he was like, hey, I don't need to go to film school. I don't need to be backed by, Universal and Fox or Disney. I can take my own money, get my own credit cards, make my own movie, and then, kind of start my own film universe from there. And that, he really set the tone for independent film, where after him, he inspired other people to make films. And it's crazy. I just heard a story where he got a call from Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters. And Jason, his son, was like, Kevin, I watched your movies and you really inspired me to make movies. And Kevin was like, well, what about your dad? Like, didn't your dad who made Ghostbusters? What about him? He's like, well, you don't get it. That's a family relationship. Right. And, I learned a lot from him, but I really got my love for making film from you, because outside of the family. And Kevin was like, really? Like the Jason Reitman, who's going to go off and make the new Ghostbusters now, took a lot of influence from Kevin. So Kevin's touched so many people in the film and creative world, and I think that's awesome. I mean, me included. He made me believe, like, hey, if you want to go do something, go do it. If you want to go start a podcast, go do it. If you want to go make a movie, go do it. If you want to live stream or create content for YouTube, go do it. There's nothing stopping you.
Most definitely. Now, one thing I didn't know about Kevin Smith, I did a little bit of research. His friends are his friends no matter what in the industry. Like looking at Jay in his progression in, certain situations outside of film. He actually, for Clerks 2, he did a lot for Jay and made sure that, he not only had a spot in the film, but he also said, plain out, if I'm not mistaken, there can't be a Clerks 2 without Jay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, which is funny, when Mallrats came out, they were casting character, Brody Bruce, T.S., but Jay had to audition to be Jay.
Yeah.
They put him through an audition to play himself. So there were actually other guys up for the role of Jay. I think Seth Green auditioned.
Wow.
I think there were a couple, well-known kind of comedic actors that auditioned as Jay, and I was like, what are you guys doing? Why are you making the guy audition to play his own role? But this is kind of a real movie company.
Absolutely.
This is not independent, and this is I hate to say it, but this is kind of how stupid like the executives are at some film companies, where they make a guy audition to play himself. Yeah, it made no sense. Thankfully, it all worked out. Jay and Silent Bob got to be played by Kevin and Jay, as it should be.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird it's a weird world, Hollywood. So that's why I think it's cool that you got like a Kevin Smith to kind of keep everything grounded.
So, if anybody was actually trying to get into the industry, trying to get their own foot in the door in their own way, what type of advice would you offer them as far as, like just breaking into the ground? Like you said, you're not an illustrator, nor are you an author, but you did find your way into finding your niche, as you say. What type of advice would you give someone who wanted to get into the industry?
Oh, man, I mean, we live in such a great day and time now where you can create your own stuff. You can shoot a movie on this. Everyone's got a smartphone with very good HD cameras in it. You can shoot in your phone. You can edit in your phone. You can put an attachment on your phone to make sure the sound is really good. Like there are no walls or boundaries to creation anymore. Let's say you want to do a live show, stream it on Facebook or Twitch. You want to kind of do a more produced show and get it out to the world. Put it on YouTube. Then it's not that hard. So don't let anything bear. And you can do it all on a very low budget too. So get your friends to come and help you out, like Kevin did. Those are all his friends who, they're holding boom poles and shooting it for him. There's your crew. You don't need to really hire a crew. Your crew is your friends. So, there are no barriers out there. If you want to do it, just go do it. And I learned from the best. That's what Kevin said many years ago, and I took it to heart for sure.
And we definitely do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking the time to let us interview you. This is Christopher Shortt from MyTV26 Stockton Con 2019. Stay tuned.